Betting on sports can be hard, but hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/bestbets or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/bestbets. This is a paid advertisement.
You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board as we are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Really fun conversation. Hardcore NFL with Paul Charchian last half hour. If you missed it, you can go to the the VSiN Watch app on your phone, Android or Apple. Get it in the store today and go back and check out Charch today. He's on every single Thursday. As is our next guest, the Meat Man, Steve Wyss, joins the program now, part of the Nordic Football Podcast and Because We Win, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Good to talk to you again, Steve. How are you?
I've been a bit stressed out, guys. I've been watching a lot of soccer matches in the last 3 hours in Europa League, Conference League. Had a few close calls. I might be a bit red in the face. You know what it's like, sports betting, highs and lows. Generally finish on the up, though. That's what matters. Hope you're well.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you were like Nigel, you'd probably have a couple of Stellas already down. Is that the case or no?
I need something from the top shelf after some of the ups and downs I've had today. Crazy frustration of sports stars when they do dumb things does my head in, guys. It really does. I shout at screens and, oh, God, I scared the cat away and everything earlier.
So no appearances on the show today from the cat. Let's begin here. All tickets cash the same. Right, Newcastle takes on Leicester Saturday in the Prim. This is the 12th team in the table against the 16th team in the table. Who do you like and why?
I'm going with a Newcastle blowout win. -1.5 on the Asian handicap here, -115. And, maybe the recent results won't suggest this result, but I actually think there's a big gulfing class between the two teams. Leicester have had a new manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy's come in, and he's started with a win and a draw. But if you watch the two games, they have been very, very lucky in those results. They've conceded so many chances and so many shots. And, fair play to them for digging in and managed to get some points. But if they keep playing like this, Leicester, someone's going to turn them over big soon. And this could be the one for Newcastle because Newcastle are underachieving. They need to produce a performance. They certainly need to get a win. And I think they need to win well to get the fans back on their side. I sense there's a lot of frustration in Newcastle at the moment. And sooner or later, they've got so many good attacking players like Isak, Gordon, Callum Wilson's back from injury now, Bruno G in midfield. This is a very good team that should actually be challenging for European positions in the top 6. So, and Leicester, I still think have a big chance of going down. Fair play to the new manager so far. He's got them ticking a fence. I nearly went over here as well. Over 3.25, I think is a good bet here. But the more I think about it, if Newcastle actually take their chances, this is a blowout home win. They are much better than Leicester. I could see this being 3 or 4 goals for Newcastle here.
All right, let's do it. Good bounce back from the Meat Man, 3-1-1 on his last appearance, and you have been all over this from the get-go. Sunday, let's go first half over, Brentford and Chelsea, as Brentford continues to score early and often in the first half.
Same again. That's the first half goals. I've made a lot of money out of this season in Brentford first half games. I hope a lot of the viewers here have managed to cash in too. And most of the time, I'm taking the bet when Brentford are at home. They are away this time, but I think the matchup really suits goals and high tempo, frantic energy right from the get-go here. Brentford are not a good away team. They concede a lot of goals away from home. Their results away from home are generally not very good at all. I think they might have the second worst away record in the league. Yeah, 6 defeats, 1 draw, and you just never trust them on the road. And this Chelsea team are sneaky good. Might even be a dark horse for to win the Premier League, even if Liverpool were to slip up. There's a lot of young talent here. Cole Palmer might be the best player in the Premier League right now, certainly in terms of form, along with Mo Salah, of course. And, they've got goals in them everywhere, Chelsea. I really like what I'm seeing from them. I think the difference this time is the goal line has gone up by a quarter in the first half. So we're taking over 1.5. We need 2 goals in that first half. Otherwise, this is either simple, you win or you lose. all or nothing play, which a lot of people like that, of course. But based on what we've seen this season, Brentford have scored in every single first half game, bar 2 in the Premier League this season. And even if they don't score here, Chelsea are very capable of leading 2-0 or more at the interval. I say the same thing every week, just the way Brentford play. The first half, a wide open, action-packed. Chelsea, a very good team to watch at the minute as well. And I actually thought this goal line for first half would be more than 1.5. I thought it'd be 1.75 or even 2 on the Asian line for first half. There's a lot of goals here. I think the whole match will be goals as well.
All right, excellent. Staying Sunday, how about another total, and this time an under with Brighton and Crystal Palace?
Going under. Under here. Under 2.75 goals. It's around about the minus 107 mark here. And main reason for this is because it's a big rivalry. The two teams hate each other. It's a very strange rivalry. I think they call it the M23 Derby. It's to do with a motorway which links South London to Brighton. This is one of those you've got to Google, really. The history of it's a bit weird, why there is a rivalry. But anyway, they don't like each other, and no one wants to lose this game. And when that happens, often you're going to get stop-start. Soccer, fouls everywhere, players trying to time waste. If anyone gets ahead, they want to game manage. The result's really important here. And, 5 of the last 6 head-to-heads have gone under 2.5 goals. Last season, it did end 4-1 to Brighton, which was unusual for this fixture. Doesn't normally happen. Palace, I think, will come here with a defensive setup, make themselves hard to break down, and Brighton are not always that good when they face this sort of team. Brighton are much better when they are the underdog and they've got a lot of space to run into. So, for me, this has got to be under. I mean, I'd happily would have gone under 2.5, actually, guys. But we got a quarter more of we got a 2.75 goal line here, which means if there's 3 goals scored exactly, you only lose half your stake. We don't want that, but it's better than losing your whole stake, isn't it? But I think this could be a draw. Maybe, 0-0's got a chance. If we get to half-time at 0-0, it's got a chance. But I'm thinking the 1-1 exact score is what I'm expecting from this outcome. I think there won't be much between the two teams. It's going to be a close game, which definitely gives strength to the unders.
Follow the money, Pauly and Mitch Vyss and the Sports Betting Network. On the Progressive Guest Line is Steve Wyss, the Meat Man, and Meat Man Soccer on X. Because we win in Nordic Pod, let's go to the Championship League, the league below the Premier League. And you had a winner on this club the last time with Blackburn. You want to take plus money on Blackburn to get it done here. Tell us why.
This is a massive, massive price. This is the best bet of the week from me. It's got to be Blackburn on the money line to beat Luton at plus 120. They've won their last 5 games. They haven't conceded a goal in the last 5. I said last week how impressed I've been with Blackburn. They're really well managed. They're setting themselves up perfectly. And they're playing a Luton team who are shambles away from home. 3rd worst away record. I think they've lost 6 straight on the road, along those lines anyway. And Luton are a side that really struggle when they got 3 games in a week, and this is it for them. Their manager's been under continual pressure all season. Feels like he's always one bad result away from the chop. They won in midweek, which probably saved his job, but this is such a tough match for them against an informed Blackburn team who are now up to 5th in the table. This is a big shock. I thought Blackburn would go down this season. They've been way better than I thought. Credit to them. And I cannot believe we're plus 120 here on the money line. I genuinely can't. I thought they'd be minus 125 tops. So this is just a clear bet. I was always going to bet them this week if they were above a certain odds. And this is, definitely the best bet on the segment today.
Beautiful.
I'm going to advise Blackburn money line.
Strong. Okay. I have a future on Sunderland, and they were looking good, and they cannot score. Every damn match is like 1-1, 1-0. So now they're coming back to the pack here, and you want to oppose them with Swansea.
Yeah, Sunderland. I know a Sunderland fan who goes to all the games, and I said, "What's been going wrong?" He said, "There's just too much probably youth in the team, inexperience in the team, and that is maybe costing them in crucial moments." I actually think they'll finish in the top 6, but I fancy opposing them here. Swansea on the draw no bet against Sunderland. I've got to admit, there's probably a good chance of a draw in the game, which is why I want that draw no bet, full security. You won't lose anything. You won't lose any of your stakes if it does end a draw or a tie. But Swansea are playing some decent soccer. I watched some against my own team, Leeds, recently. Leeds won a thriller 4-3. But Swansea, I thought, gave a very good account of themselves. They have a style, right? Whoever manages Swansea has to play possession soccer. It has to be nice on the eye. It's just the club philosophy. Some clubs have that philosophy in soccer around the world, and they are one of them. They found some form. I think they're unbeaten in 5 straight games. One of their problems is they sometimes do draw too many games. But again, we don't mind a draw here. Sunderland definitely have drawn too many games of late, and the lack of goals is a problem. I think there's 2 issues, Pauly. They're not creating enough chances, and when they are creating them, they're not finishing them. So there's a little bit of a confidence crisis. They've only won 1 of the last 8 games. So, based on that, then they're drawn a bet away from home. I mean, they've got to travel to Wales as well, which is a long way for them. It's only a small factor, but it all adds up when you factor in bets, as you know. So even money, close to even money here. Swansea on the draw no bet. Handicap looks like a pretty safe play to me, albeit I did admit, there is a reasonable chance of an exact tie. So I wouldn't go money line here, but the draw no bet's a good one.
All right, very good. You can follow Steve on X. He's at Meatman Soccer, Because We Win podcast, and Nordic Football Pod as well. Steve, awesome. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, guys. And good luck to you as well over the next few days.
Thank you, sir.
There you go.
In sports betting and trading, probability is a key to success. Discover the power of high probability trading with Todd Bubba Horowitz, former floor trader and sports bettor with over 45 years of experience. Visit bubbaTrading.com/VSiN, code VSiN500 to save $500. Don't miss the chance to gain the edge in your trading game today. bubbaTrading.com/VSiN, promo code VSiN500. Good to have you aboard, Bubba.
We'll dive into tonight's basketball card. 3 games in the NBA and a juicy rivalry in college basketball. Good numbers next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll break down the Thursday night game from a betting perspective. Here, 3 games tonight in the NBA, a juicy rivalry in college basketball, which I'll get to. I like 2 dogs tonight in the NBA. I think Boston, there's no Jason Tatum tonight. He's been ruled out. I think they're laying too many points against a feisty Detroit team. It's 11.5 right now. Celtics laying that number. Cade Cunningham is a problem for almost every team in the league. Here are some numbers on Cade in recent form. 3 games in December against the Knicks. Keep this in mind. The Knicks, the Celtics, and the Bucks. He is averaging 26 points, almost 12 assists, and 8 rebounds a game. 3.7 made threes on almost 8 attempts per game. That's after averaging 23 points per game, 9.5 assists, and 8 rebounds in 13 November games. Some more numbers. He has had double-digit assists in 8 out of 9 games and 11 out of 14 in 2 games against Boston this year. 27, 14, and 9. The other game, it was 21, 10, and 6. And I'll break it down even more using the daily prop analyzer for the NBA at vsin.com. And I'll tie it into a bet that I like tonight. Cade Cunningham has scored 20-plus points in 18 out of 21 games so far this year. He has 7-plus assists in 16 out of 21 games and 13 of his last 14. And he has rebounded the ball at least 5 times in 20 out of 21 games and 19 straight. I did the same game parlay tonight. It's my G-Bank bet of the night, Pauly. 20-plus points, 7-plus assists, 5-plus rebounds is even money at BetMGM. Had to take it out of principle.
Best Bets brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of VSiN. VSiN recommends every bettor make the G-Bank Visa signature card part of their betting toolbox. Save up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees. Earn cashback rewards on eligible betting transactions. And for a limited time, you get a $250 bonus when you open your account and spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. Apply now, vsin.com/GBank, vsin.com/GBank. Take advantage of the $250 bonus for a limited time from our friends at G-Bank, the official bank of VEASAN, subject to credit approval. 18-3 to the over in the rebounds, the prop analyzer, and 17-4 over-on with made threes. Put it all together, whip it up. You're the mixologist and spirits educator today. Excellent. Check it out, VEASAN.com.
Well played. By the way, the Celtics on the year, laying these big numbers, they are 9-15 against the spread on the year. 11.5.
Yeah.
Got to take the Pistons in this game.
Okay. All right. And the dog in the other game. You know, this is the Raptors and Heat. You have the Jimmy Butler drama. Is he on the move? They played twice this year. They split high-scoring games, and Toronto clipped them 119 to 116. So you look at the record and say, well, 7-18, but they've been feisty and in some of these games, and that's a ton of points tonight as well. And you got drama in Miami, which is never good.
No doubt.
Apparently now he's not part of Heat culture. It's going sideways. You know?
And by the way, the Raptors are the second best team in the NBA against the spread. They are 17-8. Scotty Barnes is going to be out for a while, but guess who stepped up? And this is becoming one of, if not the most popular bet at sportsbooks today, and it's R.J. Barrett's assist number over. Yep. So this opened up 5.5. I think it was plus money to the over. It has either moved to extremely high juice on 5.5, or the number is now 6.5. But he has turned into he's going to get the usage rate for this guy is off the charts. He's going to facilitate. He'll operate a lot as the point guard or probably call it point guard, I guess, for the Raptors tonight. And this team goes out and gives strong effort, like in all their games. They're not very good. They're without, Scotty Barnes again for a while, who's really, really good, but they're still covering games at 17-8 on the season. So big number tonight for the Heat to be laying. I guess Hero could go out there and make 10 threes again. It's tough to recover from something like that, but I do like him, Toronto, in this spot.
Okay. Barrett's also been strong with the rebounds, too. And again, check out the prop analyzer up there at VEASAN.com. This has gone sour in a hurry for New Orleans. Between the injuries, they're 5-20. Worst record in the Western Conference. And you look at the Kings last place, but they're 12-13. So a bit of a disappointment. And to see some good teams, what would appear to be good teams, are going to be left out of the West. But this is just, what do you do? You could have traded Ingram, didn't happen, gets hurt again. Zion you had the chance to trade him, always hurt. And it's just, you're going to even come close to the playoff race here. So I want Sacramento. One favorite here was Sacramento to obliterate New Orleans in what's been an awful season. They've lost 9 of 10 and they can't score, due in part to all these injuries.
Do you think either guy gets traded by the deadline? It's a long time.
What do you get for him, though, with Zion? They're both always hurt, but Zion, he just can't live up to the potential.
Well, first of all, I think that you'd have to give up more for Ingram, right, at this point, because Zion never plays. So I wouldn't give up much for the guy.
I don't know. It's a tough call.
Are you going to give up a proven player in return, plus a package for Zion? You'd have to have your head examined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The guy's never on the court.
Yeah.
Ingram is super, effective when he's out there and healthy.
Well, then Zion was great, and then he got hurt in the play-in game. So you just see the flashes of brilliance and what could be, but it's between the conditioning and the front porch and always with the injuries and eating the gumbo. Come on, man.
I would say that if he could ever stay fully healthy I'm not going to call it an MVP, but he's so talented that he could be like first team All-NBA. I wouldn't be surprised by that, but he's never going to play 82 games in a season the way it appears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about the college? The first thing when you see this matchup, Iowa State-Iowa, you're saying who's going to get stops.
Right.
But you're seeing a huge total, though, of 160. So we both love this Iowa State team. And the performance in Maui, where they were up big on Auburn, and Auburn came back to win. They had a great win at home against Marquette. So this is a top 5 team, very good. But they're making you pay here with the total, because I don't see anyone getting stops, but it's your big boy up to 160.
It's on the move. I actually see 162, 162.5 now at some spots. So I wanted to play the Iowa team total over, but I think I missed it because it has certainly gone up at least a tick. They are 6-0 overall with the record at home. Now here are the points scored. This has always been a thing, right, for a long, long time with this team when they play at home. The points scored by game for Iowa in the 6 games that they have won, 89, 89 in order, 96, 83, 110, and 80. And Iowa State's scores in 3 neutral court games so far this year. They haven't played a true road game yet. This will be it. In Maui, 83-81, 89-84, 99-71. so I can understand why the total has moved from 159.5 to where it's at right now. Again, I wanted to play the Iowa team total over, but now you're pushing like 80 points in that spot. Not quite 80, but you're getting there. Haven't done it yet. Who knows? We'll see what I can find. You want to lay that many points with Iowa State on the road? In a tough environment? Big rivalry spot?
Yeah.
I get it.
They're going to get what they want offensively, though. It's just that every year Iowa just matador defense.
Yeah.
But if you can do that to Auburn, though, I trust them.
Oh, you have to.
If you can have Auburn down 18-17 on a neutral.
How many teams could do that in the
on.
country?
Yes.
Not many.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay. By the way, back to the NBA for a second here. How many big names overall do you think are going to get moved before the deadline?
Is this LeBron thing real? You know, the reports hit up about maybe to the Warriors, and now he suddenly what was a personal issue, and he misses a couple games?
Right.
Oh, boy.
I think it was Rachel Nichols had that the other day. That could be a thing with James. So how does he explain that to Anthony Davis?
Yeah, no kidding.
Doesn't care? Sorry, buddy.
Can't do that.
It was fun. We won a title back in the pandemic, but now I'm going to ride off into the sunset. And I know Bobby Marks is trying to match the salaries from Golden State to go back to Los Angeles. How do they make this work with the aprons and everything that they have to do? And plus the luxury tax but the Warriors don't care about that. Their ownership is awesome. They're like, oh, we'll take on anything.
That's true, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
the checkbook won them the title a couple years ago.
That's right. So if they could somehow match the salaries, do you think people would be just livid at this if LeBron does it one more time?
Yeah, it won't go over well.
I don't think it will either.
No. It just retire a Laker. Finish it out. That's how it has to be. You made your bed. It worked. I mean, you won a title. It worked. Okay, you had a Western Conference Finals appearance. Why can't I come back and say, let's make a move and strengthen this roster? That's the thing. Other than drafting Connect, they haven't made a good move.
I know
what some people were criticizing him, saying you don't deserve this because you asked them to give up all these assets to get Westbrook, and that was a disaster. So,
if he would go to Golden State, can they win the whole thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would Golden State have to give up?
That I don't know. But this is with apron stuff and Matt. Oh, boy. And what do you want in return with the Lakers?
Well, I know this.
But what does it do for chemistry in that where you're still juggling, you're playing 12, 13 guys, but they like that they can do this. They can come at you in waves, and it's worked.
Do you think, where would Golden State go on the odds board in the Western Conference if news broke that LeBron was getting traded there? Do they automatically skyrocket to the top? Do they overtake OKC as the favorites to win it?
I don't know about that, but I think they're close.
They're right there with them.
Because you see Denver's got plenty of issues, and still are they on the Dallas level?
Yeah. A Thursday night football betting preview is up next. Somebody is eating for San Francisco. I have it down to 2 players. I'll state my case next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
This is a big Thursday night game tonight. Rams, Niners, gotta have a game.
Yep.
And at several sports books, the 49ers are 2.5 with juice minus 120. Others, of course, have them at 3 at around even money. Maybe a minus 105 out there as well. Minus 115 if you want the Rams on the other side. They played in week 3. Rams came back to get them 27-24. The Niners led 14-0 after the first quarter and 24-14 like 11 minutes ago in the fourth quarter. I watched that. I did not see that coming during the game. I don't know what the hell happened with the 49ers.
Yep. Been the story of the season. Blowing games like that. And that's why they're going to miss. 10-1 to make the playoffs, 18-1 to win the division now. And how do they treat these last couple of games if they lose tonight? They asked a couple players, including Warner after the game, what was the difference? Well, it was just that execution. Because remember how bad they looked against Green Bay and Buffalo. Why they looked so good against the Bears. He just said simply execution. So it's been a house of horrors in terms of blowing games, losing close games, and all the injuries. Bosa's going to give it a go tonight. Greenlaw's back. Grando's going to play. And Trent Williams is out, but probably too little, too late, even if they win this, and there's a tough schedule behind that as well. So, again, I like the Rams here, and they've been a tough team to handicap and figure out, but it just seems in that sweet spot, that 2.5, they're begging you to take the 49ers, and it hasn't worked out here. But with the Rams angle, like Paul Charchian just talked about, you think it'd be an auto play with Puka over 89.5 and what he's done 3 of the last 4 games, but he was just Superman a couple days ago with 14 for 162. What does he have left in the tank? I do like, though, that McVay has done an excellent job on short rest and has great numbers going back and in December. 27-13 run in December and great on short rest.
Well, here's what I would say to push back a little bit on the Puka Nacua angle. Again, Rams have to have all these games to get into the playoffs.
That's true. That's the comeback, right?
Right. So I mean, if he has 17 targets tonight, 12 catches, who's going to be surprised really at the end of the day? Because the offense, when Stafford and Nacua and Cooper Kupp are all healthy and on the field at the same time, they're at advanced numbers, EPA, DVOA, they're all like basically elite. That's how good they are. And when we talked to Paul Charchian, he said the Rams just might outscore everybody if they get into the playoffs because the offense is so good. So, okay, let me state my case for 2 guys on the 49ers. The first time they played again, in that loss, Purdy had 292 and 3 touchdowns. Juwan Jennings had 11 for 175 and 3 scores. Jennings last week with Purdy against the Bears had 7 for 90 and 2 touchdowns. Jennings with Purdy versus Seattle had 10 for 91 and a touchdown. Jennings with Purdy versus Tampa Bay had 7 for 93. So those are full games. Here's the key. With a healthy Brock Purdy and no Brandon Ayuk. So his prop was sitting there for a day at 68.5. Jennings was. You can still find 69.5. Most books have it around 70.5. He has turned into their best wide receiver. Deebo Samuel has done essentially nothing in the passing game. But the other guy would have to be George Kittle. Last week, 6 for 151. This will give you an idea of the rapport that Purdy has with these 2 guys. Kittle with Purdy against Tampa Bay, 3 for 57 and a touchdown. With Purdy against Dallas, 6 for 128 and a score. Against the Chiefs, he had 6 for 92. The first time they played, Seattle with Purdy, 5 for 58 and 2 touchdowns. Against Arizona, 8 for 64 and 1 touchdown. He also scored against New England and Minnesota when Purdy was healthy at quarterback. That's pretty much full season. Either he's going to get 5, 6, 7, 8 catches, he's going to have a lot of yards, and or he's going to score at least once. But the Rams are pretty good overall against tight ends, like I said.
Yeah. How concerned are you that they issues against the run? Well, and I don't know. It figures it'd be a big Garando game, but like Chart said, he always gets hurt. But they've allowed the 6th most yards per carry, 4.7 or 26 in DVOA in run defense. Maybe that's the way Shanahan attacks it tonight. But that's also, what does he do on the ground too? Mm-hmm. Or is it more Taylor that they could give him some carries? So that's interesting with the prop standpoint. Here at Circa, Kupp is plus 270 to have 90 yards. Maybe it's I lean on him now because I got to have the game and take some off. But you can't get away from what he's done in the stretch. Puka, 14 for 162, 8 for 56, 13 for 117, 9 for 123, and 14 for 98.
Wow.
That's what you get for targets. That's what you're getting every single game out of this guy. And the one fluke was the Saints game, which just the targets were there, but they didn't have the connection. But that looks good. Have a big performance from Kupp. And then I think a big one also see if Bosa's going to go, and he's going to be a game-time decision and try it out here shortly when they take the field. That's something else to get into.
Pauly, let me give you something that's going to blow your mind. Again, all this stuff is available at vsin.com. Adam Burke tracks the first touchdown score of the games every single week and every single team. Did you know that Kyren Williams for the Rams scored their first touchdown, so the first Rams touchdown of the game, in the first 7 games that he played this year? That is just silly. Yeah. He's also scored the Rams' first touchdown the last 3 games. So on the season, he has scored the Rams' first touchdown 10 times on the year. And in the last 3 games, they've all been the first score of the game. This is a weak number overall, because I like to take a little bit longer shots. I ran down during the break, and I bet plus 540 on Kyren Williams to score the first touchdown here. I'm probably going to see if I can find him to score that's incredible.
Yeah.
So only 3 other players actually checked that because they had a game where they didn't score an offensive touchdown. So Robinson and Kupp are the only 2 players on the team to score the team's first touchdown of the entire, of any game this year. Wild. That ties into, again, that stat of he has 17 rushes inside the 5-yard line this year. 10 of them have resulted in a touchdown. McVay loves to go to him. And by the way, he'll do it back-to-back or even back-to-back-to-back times when they're at or around the goal line. He was running it a little bit with Nakul last week too, getting creative, but that was a really fun game anyway, and I think they had to do whatever they could to obviously outscore the Bills in that contest.
Yep. Last 4 meetings head-to-head have gone over, and McVay 13-4-1 ATS run on short rest, 8-1 run overall short rest, what he's done, cashing 8 of the last 9. What happens moving forward? Like Chargers thinks they can be a player, and they could outscore you and make a deep postseason run. Are you there yet? And they're plus 160 to win the division. Plus 150 to make the playoffs.
But here's my dilemma.
You got to have this one tonight, though, too, because Seattle's got a tough schedule.
Right. So here, you're exactly right. Seattle's schedule, I think, is much more difficult than the Rams, if I recall correctly. I think the Rams absolutely have a path to win this thing based on that. But do you bet them right now? Because they're, again, a 2.5 or 3-point dog tonight, and Shanahan is own McVay. And then the Seahawks are like the same thing. They're a 2.5 or 3-point. What if they win at home? Actually, you just bet them right now for a smaller bet and then come back after the results on Sunday and bet them.
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
There's 2 coin flip games. I like Green Bay, but you can't be surprised if Seattle wins, especially with the, as Chernoff said, it could be windy and a problem throwing the ball, and it's about the ground game.
Yeah. I got first.
But this division has been all over the place. Seattle was in last place not that long ago, like 11-1. Now they're the favorites to win the division. Niners were what they were before the season. And now they're 10-1, and it's over.
First book I'm looking at right now, what I told you with Kyron Williams, 2-1 to score their first touchdown of the game tonight. Nakua is 3-1. Kupp is plus 360. He's 2-1. He's done it in 10 other games.
Yeah. It's good. Also, I was checking out, Joe Fortenbaugh made a good case, Purdy rushing yards under 20.5. With no Williams, he doesn't take off as much for whatever reason. And I think 7 times he's gone under that as well. So I think that's a big number for Purdy tonight, rushing yards under 20.5. Take your betting to the next level by playing the ponies on First Bet. From Del Mar and Gulfstream Park to the Derby and Preakness, First Bet has you covered. Sign up firstbet.com, promo code VSIN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days. Up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today.
Who would you rather play in the playoffs of these 2 teams if they were to get in?
Well, it's a no-brainer.
You'd rather play the Rams?
Yeah, right. So you can't stop anything. It was just an all-time performance from Stafford in the offense. And the block, but they still lose the game if it wasn't for the block punt. The block punt messed it up and then prevented the Bills' comeback. And so maybe the Bills could have won. McDermott didn't lose his mind with the timeout.
Here's another thing. How many people will make the case for the 49ers to be a, quote, sleeper pick to win the NFC if they sneak into the playoffs, besides every human being on the planet? That's going to be the most common narrative in the world if that happens. If they get in somehow, some way, get hot down the stretch, every single person is going to say, well, good luck beating them.
Mm-hmm.
They might be more popular than the Lions or the Eagles to win it if they get in.
Yeah.
Which to me
would be
would
riding a long winning streak.
Which would be bonkers.
Yeah, right.
But
still a long shot, though, and they lose almost every tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So they did it to themselves. Cannot believe this.
Professional sports bettor Brad Powers on the program coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on bowl games and betting it at this point of the season next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's going to be a fun conversation as professional sports bettor Brad Powers joins the program now, as he does every single Thursday at this time. You can follow Brad on X. He's at BradPowers7, and his website is BradPowersports.com. He is on the Progressive guest line. Okay, so we talked to you about your philosophy last week, betting these bowl games because you don't know which players are going to transfer. You don't know which coaches are going to be leaving. Did you find yourself dialing it back compared to previous years, or has it still been guns a-blazing?
Yeah, I think probably guns a-blazing compared to most. I would say, tallied it back as far as I'm concerned, maybe 10, 15, 20%, somewhere around there. But I mean, for that means instead of betting every single bowl game, betting 75, 80% of the bowl games. And I ended up making about 30 bets on Sunday and Monday. So I look at it's not that complicated. I mean, you bet against teams with interim coaches because it's most likely that those teams are going to have the kids hit the portal. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out that, you look at the upcoming NFL draft and see who's projected in the first and second round. And if they're not playing in a playoff game, you would tend to think that those players aren't going to play in a meaningless bowl game. So you can figure a lot of this stuff out. But yeah, so far so good, but we'll see. And getting closing line value has never been my problem. It's getting home and getting the money. We'll see if it ends up working out.
Well, let me ask you this. So there's no doubt that you've built out probably an incredible network over the years of people that you can rely on, during the season, specifically maybe during the bowl season. So how much of the news do you get this time of year comes on, I don't know, Twitter, internet, social media, compared to your phone blowing up and getting messages from people who you know?
Yeah, it's still... I mean, I would still say it's 60, 70 to 60, 40, 70, 30 as far as still reading on the net. But I'll get a few where somebody has inside that this guy's not going to play. This guy is. I just got one before we came on a game, but surprise, and maybe we can get into it. But I was told that Cam Ward probably is going to play for Miami. So, yeah, it kind of depends on, I also get info that's not always right because I was told that Arkansas was going to be okay. And that's been my worst bet that I made so far this bowl season. I laid 2.5 and now they're catching 3. So that one, my sources weren't good on that one.
What do you think of Belichick going to Carolina and the win total up to 7.5?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be pessimistic in some of those instances. He hasn't coached in college. A lot of the people that he's surrounding himself have not been involved in the college game. So the college game is completely different than what it was a few years ago. Now, some might say, hey, it's more relatable to the NFL than ever before as far as, having a GM, filling out your roster, paying players and whatnot. But I have my doubts there. I mean, usually when you fire a 73-year-old coach, you go opposite and you go with the youth movement. You don't, hire a guy that's 1 year younger. And hasn't coached in the college level. So I honestly don't like the move that much. And I'm a little surprised. I've seen the win total. I haven't dived in deep, but I'm a little surprised. Early money on the over, 6.5 up to 7.5.
How about Dan Mullen coming to UNLV?
Yeah, on the surface, I like it. It looks very similar to what they did with Barry Odom. Hired a relatively successful coach that's been in the SEC for a while. Mullen even more successful than Barry Odom. Obviously more on the offensive side. Dan Mullen's a unique personality, likes to have fun, and this is a city where you can have a lot of fun. So I'm anxious. I got to see who he surrounds himself staff-wise because there was a knock on him on Florida. He wasn't a dog in the recruiting trail, and that concerns me. But as far as a big name and swinging for the fences again, kudos for UNLV. I think in that regard, it's another good hire.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Which one are you hotter on here? Scott Frost going back to Central Florida or Rich Rodriguez going back to West Virginia?
Rich Rod at West Virginia, because, I mean, Rich Rod's still winning. I mean, look what he's done at Jacksonville State. I mean, he didn't miss jumping up from FCS to FBS. They didn't, miss a beat. Just won the Conference USA Championship. I know he had off-field issues at Arizona. It wasn't because he was fired for on-field stuff, so he won there. He had Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. The last stop previous to Jacksonville State. So I like that move. I did not the rumors and the stuff I heard, and I don't think they're rumors because they were so specific with Scott Frost and what was going on there the last year or two in Nebraska, leads me to believe that Orlando, Florida is probably not a good spot for him.
Damn. Okay.
A worse spot for him or Las Vegas for Dan Mullen?
Boy, I put my hand on the Bible here today. I would say I'm more concerned with Scott Frost, but it's pretty close. That's a tough question.
God. All right. Excellent. Very good. So you mentioned the Arkansas bet. Is the best bet then Memphis? You took 3.5 and now they're up to 4.5?
No, honestly, the best bet, even though it's moved to touchdown still, I still think on the board. And the only thing that would concern me is an injury to the quarterback because they play this week is Army. I think Army's going to absolutely demolish Marshall. And usually I would say, obviously you always want to get the best of the number because it doesn't matter in the long run. This is a game where I don't say this at all, usually ever. I just see, I don't see how the game's close, honestly. And it's a 15.5 point spread. It's already not it's supposed to be close. When I say not close, I mean 40, 50 point type blowout. And, how can you lay points with Army? They just did it in a bowl game a few years ago. They put a 70 spot on Houston. That was a team with their head coach. And a Marshall team with an interim coach. They have more players in the transfer portal than anybody in this bowl season. You got backups going to be trying to defend the option. You got a skeleton crew coaching staff trying to prep for the option. And the best part about it is you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Transfer portal, motivation, nothing with the service academies. And that's why they've been incredible bowl bets the last 10, 15 years. As good as any. It's been like 70% against the spread if you blindly bet on the 3 service academies in bowl games.
That's awesome. By the way, reading your newsletter, so you broke down basically for people who, and these are very popular, obviously, confidence polls, right? Just picking the games outright. Army with a bullet, then you're number one in terms of that, right?
Absolutely. If I could have gave that double the score of any other game, that it would have gotten that.
Wow.
Isn't that something? They win the conference title game, and the coach leaves to go to the last place team at Southern Miss?
Yeah, there was rumors even last year, if you remember, his quarterback, Cam Fancher, I think we talked about on the show at that time. He basically, when the quarterback hit the portal, he's like, I don't blame him. He's not getting any support from the locals. So that was Charles Huff, the Marshall head coach at the time. That was his comments. So I think there's been a rift between the boosters, the athletic department, and him, even all season long. So I wasn't surprised. What I was surprised is obviously them beating down Louisiana 31-3. I didn't see that.
Okay. How about the game out here next week? Well, involving our team, UNLV. So it opened 1.5, which you grabbed, got up to 5. You had the Odom news, which is a great play against UNLV. And now we have Cal Mendoza's in the portal. The left tackle's out. The left guard might not play. So now we're seeing a big movement back down to the original number. Do you do anything now with Cal UNLV next week?
I would still lean Cal minus 1.5, but obviously when I was betting minus 1.5, I was expecting to have 2, 3, 4 points of line value like I originally had before the Mendoza news. So that was surprising to me. I thought it was just an illness. That's why he missed the finale. Maybe it ended up being something else. He just didn't feel like playing for Cal anymore, and now he's in the portal. So a little bit surprising, but I do like almost blindly betting against interim coaches. Guys are looking for other jobs. They're interviewing for other jobs. Obviously, with the portal, players are leaving left and right. I just don't know how dialed in UNLV will be.
All right. So of the other teams who are looking at quarterbacks hitting the transfer portal, and again, you broke it down and had ton of examples in your newsletter: Tulane, Northern Illinois, North Texas, Louisville, Liberty, Duke, some others as well. Is there a game involving those teams that you like the most on the opposing side?
As far as betting the other team and fading that, well, obviously Marshall's among the mixer because their top 3 quarterbacks are out. Keep an eye on the Western Kentucky situation, and their top 3 quarterbacks are in the portal, and maybe I'm going to go in a different direction than what you think. So, does that mean that we blindly fade Western Kentucky? No. Because just because they got 10, 12 guys in the portal doesn't mean Western Kentucky, all those guys are not going to play. We just saw last year against Old Dominion, a lot of the guys, just because they're in the portal, still ended up playing in the bowl game. So, yeah, just because the portal doesn't automatically mean that you're not going to play. So keep an eye on that one, although the money continues to come in on JMU.
Okay, that's the UNLV Cal game is Wednesday, the LA Bowl. Western Kentucky, James Madison Wednesday as well. How about the game Saturday, South Alabama, Western Michigan?
Looks like Gio Lopez is going to play now for South Alabama. Was questioned he wasn't going to play. Now he is going to play. Heavy plays, then I lean South Alabama. Much better statistically, played the stronger schedule, and obviously Sunbelt is significantly better than the MAC. I didn't like Western Michigan's close of the season outside the finale.
All right, sign up our holiday special today. VSiN Pro access to everything we do through May 1st, $79. Unlimited access, every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits, DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access. The betting guides and the college football playoff guide out now. Limited time holiday offer, VSiN.com/subscribe. VSiN.com/subscribe.
We will move into the first round playoff games up next with Brad Powers. Every game is lined above a touchdown. The team Brad gives the best chance to win outright is who? We'll ask him next here on VSiN.